My sister leaked my songs to my ex-boyfriend's band again. The notification pings from Spotify where Midnight Confessions sits at number 3 on the trending chart, credited to Jake Morrison and the Broken Hearts, not Maya Chen, who poured her soul into every note during those lonely 3 a.m. writing sessions. The metallic taste of betrayal floods my mouth as I stare at my phone screen. The same song Chloe accidentally sent to Jake yesterday now has 2 million streams and counting. My fingers tremble as I scroll through the comments praising Jake's raw emotional depth and incredible songwriting talent. But here's what they don't know. I've lived this nightmare before. 3 years ago, in another life, this exact scenario destroyed everything I'd worked for. I died in a car crash at 25, broken and penniless, after watching my entire catalog of songs get stolen piece by piece. The smell of rain on hot asphalt still haunts me from that final night when I drove too fast through a storm, my vision blurred by tears of rage and helplessness. Now I'm 22 again, sitting in my childhood bedroom with its faded band posters and the keyboard where I first learned to compose. The universe gave me a second chance, and this time, I know exactly who my enemies are. I hear Chloe's footsteps approaching my door, that familiar shuffle she does when she's about to lie. The floorboard outside my room creaks, the same one that used to warn me when she'd sneak into my room to steal my diary. Now she's graduated to stealing my dreams. Maya? Her voice carries that fake concern she's perfected over the years. Can I come in? I quickly minimize the Spotify window and open my music production software, letting her think I'm obliviously working on new material. The soft glow of my computer screen illuminates the cluttered desk where sheet music mingles with coffee-stained notebooks. Sure. I don't turn around when she enters. Chloe perches on my bed, and I catch her reflection in my monitor. Wide brown eyes that used to make me think she was innocent. Silky black hair that frames her face like a halo. She's wearing my old band t-shirt, the one I thought I'd lost months ago. I heard about what happened with your song, she begins, her voice dripping with sympathy. It's so weird how Jake's new track sounds exactly like the demo you played for me last week. My hands pause over the keyboard. In my past life, this was the moment I broke down. I cried, I screamed, I begged her to help me prove the song was mine. I was so naive, so desperate to believe my little sister hadn't betrayed me. But now I know better. Yeah, it's strange, I say quietly, my voice steady. What are the odds? I can practically feel her relief through the room. She expected tears, accusations, the same emotional breakdown that made her feel powerful before. Instead, I'm giving her exactly what she wants, a naive victim who won't fight back. I'm so sorry, Maya. Jake's such a jerk for stealing your idea like that. She moves closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. Her touch makes my skin crawl, but I don't flinch. Maybe you should write something completely different. Something he's never heard? There it is. The setup for the next theft. You're right, I whisper, letting my voice crack just enough to sound broken. I should probably keep my new songs more private. No, don't shut me out, Chloe protests quickly. I'm your sister. I'd never betray your trust. You can always share your music with me. The lie slides off her tongue so smoothly it almost sounds genuine. The lavender scent of her shampoo mingles with the lingering aroma of the vanilla candle I lit earlier, creating a false sense of sisterly comfort that makes this moment even more surreal. After she leaves, I sit in the darkness of my room, the distant hum of traffic outside my window mixing with the soft whir of my computer's fan. This time, I'm not the victim. This time, I'm the hunter. I pull up my legal documents folder, something that didn't exist in my past life until it was too late. Every song I've written in the past 3 months is already copyrighted under my name, with timestamps that predate any of Jake's recordings by weeks. I've learned to document everything, to protect myself before I need protection. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Great work on Midnight Confessions. The label wants to meet tomorrow. A. Rodriguez, Pinnacle Records. I screenshot the message. Evidence. In my past life, I never thought to save proof of these conversations. I was too trusting, too focused on the music itself rather than the business protecting it. The slight buzzing of my phone against the wooden desk sounds like a war drum in the quiet room. Tomorrow, Jake will sign a contract he thinks will make him rich. He has no idea that I'm already 3 steps ahead, that every move he makes falls perfectly into the trap I've spent months preparing. But first, I need to let Chloe think she's winning. I grab my notebook and start writing a new song, something deliberately mediocre with obvious flaws that any music critic would notice. I hum the melody softly, making sure it's catchy enough to steal but terrible enough to destroy whoever performs it publicly. The lamp beside my bed casts long shadows across the walls as I work, and for the first time since my rebirth, I smile. It's not a happy smile. It's the smile of someone who knows exactly how this story ends. My phone pings again. This time it's Chloe texting from her room down the hall. Just wanted to say I love you, sis. We'll get through this together. I type back, love you too. Thanks for being here for me. Each word tastes like ash, but it's necessary. In my past life, I learned too late that sometimes you have to become the villain to defeat one. The clock on my nightstand reads 11:47 p.m. In 13 minutes, it'll be exactly 3 years since my death. 3 years since I lost everything to the two people I trusted most. But tonight isn't about grief. Tonight is about preparation. I open my laptop and navigate to a private cloud storage account Chloe doesn't know about. Inside are 47 unreleased songs. My insurance policy, my secret weapon, my path to revenge. Songs that will top charts, win Grammys, and generate enough money to buy and sell Jake's entire band 10 times over. In my past life, I died believing I was powerless. But power isn't about being the strongest or the loudest. Sometimes power is simply knowing what's coming next while everyone else stumbles in the dark. And I know exactly what's coming. The sound of my phone buzzing against my nightstand jolts me awake at 6:23 a.m. 14 notifications from social media, 12 missed calls from numbers I don't recognize, and 1 text from my mother. Call me now. Midnight Confessions hit #1 overnight. I sit up in bed, my sheets damp with cold sweat, and scroll through the chaos. Jake's face is plastered across every music blog, his cocky smile beaming from interview thumbnails where he discusses his breakthrough songwriting moment. The comments section overflows with praise for his authentic vulnerability and raw talent. The irony burns like acid in my throat. My bedroom door flies open without a knock. Chloe bursts in wearing yesterday's clothes, her mascara smudged and her hair disheveled. She's been awake all night, probably coordinating with Jake about how to handle their sudden success. Maya, have you seen... She stops when she notices my phone. Oh, I let my face crumble into the devastated expression she's expecting. My bottom lip trembles as I whisper, 2 million streams, Chloe. 2 million people think he wrote my song. She rushes to my bedside, wrapping her arms around me with the same perfume-scented embrace that used to comfort me when we were children. Now it feels like a spider's web. I know it hurts, she murmurs, stroking my hair. But maybe this is a sign. Maybe you should focus on school instead of music. It's such a competitive industry. The suggestion hits exactly like it did in my past life. A poison pill disguised as loving advice. Back then, I almost listened. I almost gave up on music entirely, convinced that I wasn't talented enough to make it in such a cruel business. You're probably right, I say, my voice barely audible. I'm not cut out for this. Chloe's grip tightens, and I feel her satisfaction radiating through her touch. She thinks she's successfully broken my spirit, cleared the path for her own musical ambitions. What she doesn't know is that I've been watching her SoundCloud account where she's been uploading covers of my unreleased songs, building her own following on my stolen melodies. I have an idea, she says, pulling back to look at me with those practiced innocent eyes. Why don't you write something completely new, something no one has ever heard? I could help you workshop it. There's the trap. She wants fresh material to feed to Jake's band now that they've signed with the Pinnacle Records. In my past life, I was so grateful for her support that I played her everything I wrote, never suspecting that each demo recording was being forwarded to my enemies within hours. I don't know if I can, I whisper. What if someone steals it again? Not if you only share it with people you trust. Her voice is honey sweet, but I catch the edge of impatience underneath. People like me. I'm your sister, Maya. I would never hurt you. The casual cruelty of the lie makes my hands clench into fists under my blanket. but I force my expression to remain broken, hopeful. Maybe, maybe I could try writing something small, just for us. That's perfect! Chloe bounces on my bed like an excited child. Take all the time you need, I'll be here to support you. After she leaves, I wait exactly 7 minutes before accessing the hidden camera footage from my laptop. The tiny lens I installed in my monitor's frame captures everything. Chloe rummaging through my desk drawers, photographing handwritten lyrics, and copying files from my external hard drive onto a flash drive she pulls from her pocket. She's not even subtle about it anymore. Success has made her careless. I upload the footage to my secure cloud storage, adding it to the growing collection of evidence I never had in my past life. Then, I open my music software and begin crafting the perfect bait. A song called Empty Promises that sounds emotionally raw and commercially viable, but contains a subtle melodic flaw that will become obvious once professional musicians try to perform it live. The process takes 3 hours. I layer in enough genuine emotion to make it convincing, while embedding the musical landmine that will detonate when Jake's band inevitably steals it. The final product sounds like heartbreak wrapped in a catchy melody, exactly what they'll expect from their broken victim. At 2 p.m., I play the song for Chloe in our living room. She sits cross-legged on our worn leather couch, nodding along with exaggerated enthusiasm. The afternoon sunlight streaming through our bay window catches the eager glint in her eyes as she mentally calculates how much this new theft might be worth. "This is incredible, Maya," she breathes when the last note fades. "It's like you channeled all your pain into something beautiful." "Do you really think so?" I let my voice crack with desperate hope. "I was worried it might be too sad." "No, it's perfect. Vulnerable but strong. Jake's band could never write something this emotionally honest. The slip is so obvious it's almost insulting. In my past life, I missed it completely, too focused on her praise to notice how she'd already started comparing my work to Jake's band instead of just Jake. Should I copyright it? I ask innocently. Maybe wait a little, Chloe suggests quickly. See how it develops first. Sometimes songs need to evolve before you lock them in legally. Another red flag I ignored before, she needs time to get the song to Jake before I can protect it. That evening, I pretend to go to bed early while actually monitoring my home network from my laptop. At 11:43 p.m., I watch Chloe's phone connect to my Wi-Fi and upload a 4.7 MB file, exactly the size of my demo recording. 3 days later, Empty Promises appears on Jake's Instagram story as a rough preview of their upcoming single. The comments explode with excitement from fans who have no idea they're celebrating theft. But I'm not angry this time, I'm triumphant. Because buried in the song's bridge is a chord progression that only works in my original key. When performed in any other range, which bands always do to match their vocalist, it creates a dissonant clash that sounds like fingernails on a chalkboard. Jake's band will discover this too late during their live debut performance next week. The same performance that will be streamed to 50,000 viewers and recorded by every music blog in the city. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "Heard your song got stolen again. Interested in legal representation? We specialize in music copyright cases. Sarah Chen and Associates." I don't respond immediately. In my past life, I never found the right lawyer until it was too late. But this time, I've done my research. Sarah Chen has a 93% success rate in copyright cases and a reputation for being absolutely ruthless in court. I save her number and add a note. Call after Jake's performance disaster. The next morning, Chloe appears at my breakfast table with dark circles under her eyes and a forced smile. "How are you feeling about everything?" "Better," I lie, stabbing my scrambled eggs with perhaps more violence than necessary. "I think you're right about focusing on school. Music is too heartbreaking." Relief floods her features. "I'm proud of you for being so mature about this." The conversation continues with her offering more poisoned advice about giving up my dreams while I nod along like a broken puppet. But inside, I'm counting down the hours until her carefully constructed lies come crashing down around her. Because this time, I'm not the naive girl who trusts her sister's sweet words. This time, I'm the storm that's been building in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to destroy everything in my path. And that moment is coming very soon. The scent of rain against hot pavement fills the air as I walk home from my composition class. The same smell that haunted my final moments in my past life. But instead of fear, it brings clarity. Tonight is the night everything changes. Jake's band is performing Empty Promises live at the Mercury Lounge in 3 hours. 58,000 people have signed up for the live stream, including music critics from Rolling Stone and Pitchfork. They have no idea they're about to witness one of the most spectacular musical disasters in recent memory. My phone vibrates with a text from Chloe. At soundcheck with Jake, he's so nervous but excited. Wish you could be here to support him. The casual cruelty of inviting me to watch my own song get butchered in real time makes my jaw clench. I type back, too busy with homework, break a leg. If only she knew how literally I meant that. I reach our house and find my parents in the kitchen, both hunched over my mother's laptop. Mom's eyes are red-rimmed, and Dad's usually perfectly styled hair is disheveled from running his hands through it. Maya, sweetheart, Mom calls out when I enter. We need to talk. My stomach drops. They know. Somehow, despite all my careful planning, they've discovered the truth about Chloe's betrayal. But when I sit down across from them, Dad pushes the laptop toward me, and I see something even worse. A legal document with Pinnacle Records letterhead. Jake's band received a cease and desist order, Dad explains, his voice tight with controlled anger. Someone is claiming copyright infringement on both Midnight Confessions and this new song they're about to perform. My heart pounds against my ribs, but I keep my expression confused and innocent. What does that have to do with us? The plaintiff is listed as Maya Chen, Mom whispers. They're saying you're the original songwriter. I let my eyes widen in shock, my mouth falling open in what I hope looks like genuine surprise. That's impossible. I never filed any copyrights. We know, honey, Dad says gently. That's why we think someone might be impersonating you, using your name to extort money from Jake's band. The bitter irony almost makes me laugh. They're so convinced of my innocence that they've invented an elaborate conspiracy, rather than consider that their youngest daughter might actually be protecting herself. Should we call the police? I ask, letting my voice shake with the right amount of fear and confusion. We've already contacted our lawyer, Mom says. But Maya, this could get very messy. If this person is using your identity for fraud, it could affect your credit, your college applications, everything. I nod gravely, playing the role of the concerned victim, while internally marveling at how perfectly this is unfolding. Even my parents are unwittingly helping to build my case by establishing that someone with access to my personal information had to be behind the original theft. My phone buzzes with another text from Chloe. Something's wrong. Jake got some legal papers right before the show. Can you call me? I show the message to my parents, who exchange worried glances. Maybe you should go to the venue, Dad suggests. Show moral support. Prove you're not involved in this legal mess. I don't want to see Jake, I say quickly. Not after what happened with my songs. Those weren't your songs, sweetheart, Mom says softly. Remember? You played them for us after Jake released his versions. Chloe explained how you'd been inspired by his music to write something similar. Another lie I never caught in my past life. Chloe had convinced our parents that I was the copycat, the delusional sister who thought she'd written songs that clearly belonged to someone else. The gaslight had been so perfectly executed that even I started to doubt my own memories, but not this time. You're right, I say, letting relief color my voice. I got confused. I should go support Jake and Chloe. The ride to the venue passes in a blur of neon signs and the steady patter of rain against the Uber's windows. The driver has the radio tuned to an indie station, and I catch a familiar melody drifting from the speakers, one of my future hits that I released anonymously last month under the pseudonym River Song. The song is already climbing the charts, earning royalties that flow into an account Chloe will never trace back to me. It's one of 43 tracks I've secretly released since my rebirth, each one a small fortune building toward my ultimate revenge. The Mercury Lounge pulses with energy when I arrive. The converted warehouse buzzes with conversation and the clink of glasses as a young, trendy crowd mingles in the dim lighting. I spot Chloe immediately. She's wearing her lucky red dress and standing near the stage, practically vibrating with excitement. She waves me over with the enthusiasm of someone who thinks she's about to win the lottery. Maya, I'm so glad you came. Jake is going to be so happy to see you here. The smell of craft beer and sweat mingles with the faint scent of her vanilla perfume as she hugs me. Over her shoulder, I see Jake adjusting his guitar strap, his face pale with pre-performance nerves. How's he holding up? I ask, nodding toward the stage. He's worried about those legal papers, but our lawyer says it's just some internet troll trying to cause trouble. Nothing to worry about. I nod sympathetically while scanning the crowd. I spot 3 music bloggers I recognize, 2 talent scouts from major labels, and at least a dozen phones already recording the pre-show atmosphere. Perfect. The more witnesses, the better. Ladies and gentlemen, the venue manager announces over the speakers, please welcome Jake Morrison and the Broken Hearts. The crowd erupts in cheers as Jake's band takes the stage. The spotlight catches Jake's nervous smile as he steps up to the microphone, his dark hair falling across his eyes in the way that used to make my heart skip. Now it just makes me angry. Thank you all for coming out tonight, Jake begins, his voice slightly hoarse from soundcheck. We've got some amazing music to share with you, including a brand new song that's very close to my heart. Chloe grabs my arm, her fingernails digging into my skin with excitement. This is it, she whispers. This is his big moment. The opening chords of Midnight Confessions ring out through the venue, and I watch 58,000 viewers tune into the live stream as the numbers tick upward on the screen mounted behind the bar. Jake's voice carries the melody I poured my soul into during those sleepless nights when he was dating someone else, when I thought my heart would never heal. The crowd sways along, completely unaware that they're witnessing a crime in progress. But I'm not here for the song I've already avenged. I'm here for what comes next. This next song is brand new, Jake announces as the applause dies down. It's called Empty Promises, and it's about the promises we make and break in relationships. He looks directly at me when he says it, and I see the cruel satisfaction in his eyes. He thinks he's taunting me with my own pain, using my heartbreak as entertainment for his fans. He has no idea he's about to humiliate himself in front of 60,000 people. The opening notes sound perfect, exactly as I composed them. Jake's voice carries the melody with the confidence of someone who believes he's about to deliver another hit. But then they reach the bridge. The moment Jake's voice hits the high note in the wrong key, the dissonance crashes through the venue like a physical force. The chord progression that sounded hauntingly beautiful in my original recording becomes a jarring, almost painful clash of notes that makes people wince and cover their ears. Jake stops singing, confusion flickering across his face as his guitarist continues playing the jarring progression. The drummer falters, losing the rhythm as the bass line fights against the melody in a way that sounds like musical warfare. The livestream chat explodes with comments, "What the hell is happening? This sounds terrible. Are they having technical difficulties? Who wrote this garbage?" Jake tries to recover, attempting to sing over the chaos, but the song has become unsalvageable. Every note he hits seems to make the discord worse, turning what should have been a triumphant performance into a musical train wreck that will be replayed on social media for weeks. Chloe's grip on my arm tightens to the point of pain. "Something's wrong," she hisses. "The song doesn't sound like this when he practices." "Maybe it's nerves," I suggest innocently, though internally I'm savoring every moment of Jake's public humiliation. The band struggles through the rest of the song while the audience shifts uncomfortably. Some people have started leaving, their faces twisted in secondhand embarrassment. The music bloggers are typing furiously on their phones, probably crafting reviews that will destroy Jake's career before it fully begins. When the final, discordant note finally dies, the applause is polite but sparse. Jake's face is flushed with embarrassment and confusion as he stares at his guitar like it personally betrayed him. "Thank you," he manages to say into the microphone. We're going to take a short break." As the band exits the stage, I pull out my phone and check the livestream numbers. 61,000 viewers witnessed the disaster, and the clips are already being shared across TikTok and Twitter with hashtags like #musicaltrainwreck and #whowritesthisstuff. But the best part is yet to come. My phone buzzes with a call from an unknown number. I step outside into the rain to answer it. "Maya Chen? This is Detective Rodriguez with the NYPD. We've been investigating a series of music copyright thefts, and your name has come up as a potential victim. Do you have time to talk?" The police station smells like burnt coffee and disinfectant, a sharp contrast to the expensive perfume worn by the woman sitting across from me in the interview room. Detective Rodriguez has kind eyes and calloused hands that suggest she plays guitar in her spare time. Maya, I want you to know that you're not in any trouble, she begins, sliding a thick manila folder across the metal table. But we've been building a case against a music theft ring, and your copyrighted songs keep appearing as evidence. I open the folder with trembling fingers, not from fear, but from excitement barely contained. Inside are printouts of my copyright filings, time-stamped recordings, and screenshots of social media posts from Jake's band claiming ownership of my work. I don't understand, I whisper, playing my role perfectly. Those aren't my songs. I mean, they sound like things I wrote, but I never filed any copyrights. Detective Rodriguez leans forward, her expression gentle but serious. Maya, we have evidence that someone has been systematically stealing your original compositions and selling them to various artists. The copyright filings were done using your legal information, but we believe you're the victim, not the perpetrator. My phone buzzes with a text from Chloe. Where are you? Jake's having a breakdown and needs to see you. Please come back. I show the message to Detective Rodriguez, who frowns as she reads it. The suspects in our investigation have been trying to contact you repeatedly since their performance tonight, she notes. That's actually what prompted us to bring you in for protection. Oh, protection from what? Maya, we have reason to believe someone very close to you has been feeding your private compositions to criminals who specialize in music theft. Someone with access to your personal files, your creative process, and your trust. The words hang in the air like a death sentence. Even though I know exactly who she's talking about, hearing it from a law enforcement officer makes the betrayal feel fresh and raw. My sister would never, I begin, then let my voice trail off as false realization dawns on my face. Detective Rodriguez nods sympathetically. I know this is hard to hear, but Chloe Chen has been in contact with Jake Morrison's management team on 17 separate occasions in the past 3 months. We have phone records, email correspondence, and financial transactions that suggest a pattern of systematic intellectual property theft. She slides another document across the table. Bank records showing payments from Pinnacle Records to an account registered under Chloe's name. Small amounts at first, then increasingly larger sums that correspond exactly with the release dates of my stolen songs. We estimate the total value of stolen intellectual property to be approximately $2.3 million, Detective Rodriguez continues. Your sister has been paid roughly $400,000 for her role in the operation. The number hits me like a physical blow. $400,000. That's more than my parents make in 3 years combined. Chloe sold out her own sister for enough money to buy a house. What happens now? I ask, my voice small and broken, though not for the reasons Detective Rodriguez assumes. We're going to arrest the perpetrators tonight, but Maya, I need you to understand that this case has implications beyond simple theft. We believe Jake Morrison's band has been using stolen songs to secure fraudulent record deals, which constitutes wire fraud and racketeering. My heart soars at the word racketeering. In my past life, Jake got away with stealing my songs because intellectual property cases are notoriously difficult to prosecute. But federal racketeering charges? Those carry serious prison time. We'd like you to make a statement, Detective Rodriguez continues. Help us understand how your creative process works, when you wrote these songs, and who had access to your materials. I spend the next 2 hours giving testimony that will destroy my sister and ex-boyfriend's lives. But unlike my past life, where I was too emotional to be coherent, this time I'm calm, detailed, and devastatingly credible. I tell them about my songwriting rituals, the dates I composed each piece, the specific inspiration behind every lyric. I provide timestamps from my computer files, explain my backup systems, and describe exactly how someone with physical access to my room could have stolen my work. I don't mention Chloe by name, I don't have to. The evidence speaks for itself. When we finish, Detective Rodriguez walks me to the lobby where my parents are waiting with expressions of shock and concern. Mom's makeup is smudged from crying, and Dad looks like he's aged 10 years in the past few hours. Sweetheart, Mom whispers as she hugs me. Detective Rodriguez explained everything. We're so sorry we didn't believe you. But they still don't know the full truth. They think I'm an innocent victim who stumbled into a conspiracy. They have no idea that I orchestrated this entire scenario with the precision of a chess grandmaster. My phone explodes with notifications as we drive home. The live stream of Jake's disastrous performance has been viewed over 200,000 times. Music blogs are calling it one of the most painful live performances in recent memory. The hashtag #EmptyPromises is trending nationwide, but not in the way Jake hoped. But that's nothing compared to what's coming next. At 11:47 p.m., exactly as I'm falling asleep, the news breaks on social media. Rising indie band arrested in multi-million-dollar music theft scheme. I grab my phone and scroll through the coverage with growing satisfaction. Jake Morrison, his 3 bandmates, and their manager have been charged with federal racketeering, wire fraud, and intellectual property theft. The arrest photos show Jake in handcuffs, his usual cocky expression replaced by confusion and terror. But Chloe isn't in any of the photos. My stomach clenches with disappointment until I see the follow-up headline. Record label executive's daughter named as key witness in music theft investigation. There she is. A blurry photo of Chloe being escorted into a federal building, her red dress wrinkled and her face hidden behind a lawyer's briefcase. The article identifies her as a cooperating witness who provided information in exchange for a reduced sentence. Even in her downfall, she's trying to save herself by betraying her co-conspirators. But I know something the prosecutors don't. I have recordings of every conversation where Chloe explicitly discussed stealing my songs. Evidence that proves she wasn't just a middleman, but the architect of the entire scheme. Evidence I haven't shared with Detective Rodriguez yet. I save the articles to my phone and set my alarm for 6 a.m. Tomorrow, I'm going to make sure my sister faces the full consequences of her betrayal. But tonight, I'm going to sleep peacefully for the first time since my rebirth. Because finally, after 3 years of planning and patience, justice is beginning to unfold exactly as I dreamed it would. The rain patters against my window like applause, and I drift off to sleep with a smile on my face. Justice tastes even sweeter the second time around. The sound of sirens wails outside our house at 6:23 a.m., piercing through the gray dawn like a death knell. I'm already awake, dressed, and sitting by my bedroom window when the black SUVs pull into our driveway. Through the glass, I watch federal agents in bulletproof vests approach our front door with the mechanical precision of a military operation. The doorbell chimes with false cheerfulness, followed immediately by 3 sharp knocks that echo through our house like gunshots. Federal agents, open up! I hear my parents stumbling around downstairs, Mom's voice high and panicked as she asks Dad what's happening. Their footsteps sound frantic against the hardwood floors, accompanied by the jingle of keys and the scrape of the chain lock being removed. But I know this visit isn't for me. My bedroom door flies open without warning. Chloe stands in the doorway wearing yesterday's clothes, her makeup streaked with tears and her hair disheveled from a sleepless night. She looks like a ghost of the confident girl who betrayed me just days ago. "Maya," she gasps, her voice raw from crying. "They're here for me. The FBI is here for me." I turn from my window seat to face her, letting concern crease my features while internally savoring every moment of her terror. The morning light streaming through my curtains illuminates the devastation in her eyes. The same devastation I felt when I discovered her betrayal in my past life. "What are you talking about?" I ask innocently. "Why would the FBI want you?" "The music thing," she whispers, collapsing onto my bed like a marionette with cut strings. "They know about the music thing, Maya. They know everything." Downstairs, I hear Detective Rodriguez's voice mixing with my parents' confused questions. The sharp scent of brewing coffee mingles with the tension radiating from every corner of our house. "I don't understand." I continue playing dumb, though every word tastes like victory. "What music thing?" Chloe stares at me with desperate eyes, searching my face for any sign that I know more than I'm letting on. "The songs, Maya, your songs. They know I gave them to Jake." There it is. The confession I never got in my past life, delivered with perfect timing and no coercion. I keep my expression shocked and hurt, letting the betrayal hit me like I'm hearing it for the first time. You gave my songs to Jake?" My voice cracks with practiced pain. "Chloe, how could you?" "I'm sorry." She breaks down completely, sobbing into her hands with the abandon of someone who knows their life is over. I'm so sorry, Maya. I never meant for it to go this far. It started small, just one song. And then they kept asking for more, and the money was so good. And I thought you'd never find out. The smell of her vanilla shampoo seems sour now, tainted by the acrid scent of fierce sweat that radiates from her trembling body. Chloe Chen! Detective Rodriguez's voice booms up the stairs. We need you to come downstairs immediately. Chloe flinches like she's been slapped. Her red-rimmed eyes dart between me and the door, and I can practically see her mind racing through possible escape routes that don't exist. Maya, you have to help me, she pleads, grabbing my hands with fingers that feel ice-cold and clammy. Tell them you gave me permission. Tell them we were collaborating. Please, I'm your sister. The word sister hits me like a physical blow, not because it hurts, but because of how easily she throws it around now that she needs something. Where was this sisterly loyalty when she was selling my dreams for profit? I can't lie to the FBI, I whisper, pulling my hands away from her desperate grip. They'll know. Heavy footsteps echo up our stairs, and Detective Rodriguez appears in my doorway with two other agents flanking her. She looks at Chloe with the cold professionalism of someone who's seen this scenario play out dozens of times. Miss Chen, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, racketeering, and intellectual property theft. The Miranda rights flow from her lips with practiced efficiency, while one of the agents produces handcuffs that gleam under my bedroom lights. Chloe's breakdown becomes complete. She collapses onto the floor, her sobs echoing off my walls as the agents lift her to her feet with professional detachment. The metallic click of the handcuffs sounds like a prison door slamming shut. Maya! Chloe screams as they lead her away. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't let them do this to me. But I just stand there watching, my face a mask of shock and betrayal, while my heart sings with vindication. This is the moment I've been building toward for months, the complete destruction of the person who destroyed me. After they're gone, the house falls into an eerie silence, broken only by my mother's quiet weeping downstairs. I sit on my bed and open my laptop, navigating to a secure folder labeled Insurance. Inside are 47 audio recordings, each one a conversation between Chloe and either Jake or his manager discussing my stolen songs. Conversations where she laughs about my naivety, plans future thefts, and counts her profits from selling out her own sister. I've been saving these recordings for the perfect moment, and that moment is now. I upload them to a secure server and send the access codes to Detective Rodriguez with a simple message. Additional evidence from my sister's room. I found these files on her computer after you arrested her. Within an hour, Chloe's status changes from cooperating witness to primary defendant. My phone buzzes with a call from an unknown number. When I answer, Jake's voice comes through the speaker, hoarse and desperate. Maya, please, I need to talk to you. Jake! I inject confusion into my voice. How are you calling me? Aren't you in jail? I made bail, he says quickly. Listen, I know how this looks, but I can explain everything. Your sister, she made me think the songs were hers. She said you two were writing together, and she was representing both of you. Another lie, delivered with the same smooth confidence he used to charm me in high school. But this time, I'm not the naive girl who believed his every word. That doesn't make sense, I say slowly. Chloe isn't a songwriter. I know it sounds crazy, but she had all these demos with her voice on them. She said you were shy about performing and asked her to make the recordings for you. Maya, I swear, I thought everything was legitimate. The creativity of his deception almost impresses me. He's trying to paint himself as another victim, manipulated by my evil sister into unwittingly committing crimes. It might have worked on a jury if I hadn't recorded every conversation where he explicitly discussed stealing my music. Where are you now? I ask. I'm outside your house. Can you come out? Just for 5 minutes. Let me explain. I peek through my bedroom curtains and see Jake's beat-up Honda parked across the street. He's sitting in the driver's seat, his usually perfect hair disheveled and his face gaunt from stress. The same car where he used to pick me up for dates, now reduced to a stalker's vehicle. I don't think that's a good idea, I say. My parents are really upset. Please, Maya, I know I hurt you, but I never meant for any of this to happen. We can fix this together. We can tell the truth about Chloe and clear both our names. There it is, the offer I've been waiting for. In my past life, Jake abandoned me completely when things got difficult. He threw me away like garbage and moved on without a second thought. But now that he's facing prison time, suddenly he wants us to be a team again. What are you suggesting? I asked carefully. Come with me. We'll go to the police together and tell them how Chloe manipulated both of us. You can testify that she stole your songs without permission, and I can testify that she lied to me about having your consent. We both get immunity, and she takes the fall for everything. The plan is so breathtakingly selfish that I almost admire its audacity. He wants me to help him throw my sister under the bus in exchange for forgiving him for stealing my life's work. I need to think about it, I say. Don't think too long, Jake warns, and his voice carries an edge that reminds me why I fell out of love with him in the first place. The feds are building their case fast. If we don't get ahead of this, we could both go down. After I hang up, I sit in my room listening to the sounds of my parents arguing downstairs. Mom wants to hire Chloe the best lawyer money can buy. Dad thinks she needs to face the consequences of her actions. Their voices rise and fall like distant thunder, punctuated by the occasional slam of a cabinet door or the clink of coffee cups. But I'm not thinking about my family's drama. I'm thinking about the recording device hidden in my purse and how perfectly it captured Jake's attempt to obstruct justice by coordinating false testimony. One more piece of evidence from my collection. My laptop chimes with an email from Detective Rodriguez. Maya, we've reviewed the additional evidence you provided. We need you to come in for another interview this afternoon. There are some developments you should know about. I smile as I close the laptop. In my past life, I died thinking I was powerless against people who wanted to destroy me. But power isn't about being strong enough to fight back. It's about being smart enough to make your enemies destroy themselves, and my enemies have been very, very stupid. The afternoon sun streams through my window as I prepare for what will likely be my final interview with the police. Soon, this will all be over, and I can finally start living the life that was stolen from me. But first, I have one last trap to spring. The federal courthouse looms against the gray October sky like a monument to justice, its granite columns casting long shadows across the steps, where reporters cluster with their cameras and microphones. I adjust my navy blue blazer and check my reflection in my phone screen one last time before walking into the chaos. Maya Chen, can you comment on your sister's plea deal? How does it feel to see your own family member facing 20 years in prison? Do you forgive Chloe for stealing your music? I keep my expression composed and sympathetic as I navigate through the crowd of journalists. Detective Rodriguez meets me at the courthouse entrance, her presence creating a buffer between me and the shouting reporters. How are you holding up? She asks as we pass through security. It's been difficult, I say honestly, though not for the reasons she assumes. I never imagined it would come to this. We ride the elevator to the 15th floor in comfortable silence. Through the brass doors, I can see the courtroom filling with spectators, lawyers, and more reporters. This is the sentencing hearing for Chloe and Jake, the final act in a drama that began with my rebirth. Before we go in, Detective Rodriguez says, I want you to know that your sister's lawyer has been trying to negotiate a reduced sentence. She's claiming she was coerced into the conspiracy by Jake Morrison. I nod gravely while internally rolling my eyes. Even facing federal prison, Chloe is still trying to manipulate the narrative, still trying to position herself as a victim rather than the architect of betrayal. What does that mean for the case? I ask. Nothing changes for you, Detective Rodriguez assures me. But it might mean she gets 15 years instead of 20. The judge will consider her cooperation and her lack of prior criminal history. 15 years. In my past life, Chloe lived comfortably off my stolen songs while I died broken and forgotten. 15 years seems like appropriate interest on that debt. The courtroom buzzes with nervous energy as we take our seats in the gallery. I spot my parents in the front row, both looking like they've aged a decade in the past few months. Mom clutches a tissue box while Dad stares straight ahead with the 1,000-yard stare of a man whose world has been turned upside down. Jake sits at the defendant's table with his lawyer, an expensive suit that can't hide the hollow desperation in his eyes. His usual swagger has been replaced by the nervous energy of someone who knows his life is about to be destroyed. When he turns to scan the gallery, his gaze finds mine, and I see him mouth the word please. I look away without acknowledgement. The door to the holding area opens, and Chloe enters in an orange jumpsuit that makes her look younger and more vulnerable than her 24 years. Her hair has been pulled back into a simple ponytail, and her face is scrubbed clean of the makeup she once used to hide behind. She looks directly at me as the bailiff guides her to the defendant's table, her eyes pleading for some sign of forgiveness or support. But I keep my expression neutral, sympathetic but distant, the face of someone who's been deeply hurt by betrayal. All rise for the Honorable Judge Patricia Hawkins. Judge Hawkins is a stern woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes that seem to see through every excuse and manipulation. She reviews the case files with the methodical precision of someone who's seen every variation of human greed and stupidity. In the matter of the United States versus Chloe Chen and Jacob Morrison, she begins, her voice carrying the weight of final judgment. I have reviewed the evidence, the plea agreements, and the victim impact statements. Victim impact statements. I'd forgotten about those. Detective Rodriguez had asked me to write one months ago, describing how the theft of my music had affected my life and career. I'd crafted it carefully, emphasizing the emotional devastation while omitting any mention of my rebirth or my role in orchestrating their downfall. Miss Chen, Judge Hawkins addresses my sister directly. You stand convicted of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, racketeering, and intellectual property theft. These crimes represent not just financial damage, but a profound betrayal of family trust. Chloe stands with her lawyer, her hands clasped behind her back in a posture that suggests remorse, but could just as easily be terror. Your cooperation with law enforcement has been noted, the judge continues. However, the court finds that your role in this conspiracy was not that of a reluctant participant, but rather an active architect who systematically exploited your sister's trust for financial gain. The words hit the courtroom like physical blows. I watch Chloe's shoulders shake as the full weight of her actions is laid bare in legal language that strips away all pretense and excuse. The court sentences you to 18 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. 18 years, more than I'd hoped for, more than even Detective Rodriguez had predicted. Chloe collapses into her chair as if her legs can no longer support her weight. Behind me, I hear my mother's quiet sobs and my father's sharp intake of breath. Mr. Morrison, Judge Hawkins turns her attention to Jake. Your case presents additional complications. Not only did you participate in the theft of copyrighted material, but you also attempted to obstruct justice by coordinating false testimony with the victim. Jake's face goes white as paper. The recording I'd made of his phone call was the final nail in his coffin, the evidence that transformed him from a cooperative defendant into a flight risk facing additional charges. The court sentences you to 22 years in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. 22 years. Jake Morrison, the golden boy, who thought he could steal my dreams and face no consequences, will be 47 years old when he's released. His music career is over, his reputation destroyed, his life effectively ended. Justice tastes even sweeter than I'd imagined. As the bailiffs lead both defendants away in handcuffs, Chloe turns one last time to look at me. Her eyes are red with tears, but there's something else there, too. A flicker of understanding, as if she's finally realized that I'm not the naive victim she thought she could manipulate forever. I meet her gaze with calm composure, letting her see the truth in my eyes. I'm not broken. I'm not helpless. I'm the architect of her destruction, and every moment of her suffering is exactly what she deserves. She knows. Finally, after all these months, she knows. The courtroom erupts in chaos as reporters rush to file their stories and spectators debate the sentences in hushed whispers. My parents approach me with expressions of mixed grief and relief, unsure how to process the fact that their family has been destroyed by their own daughter's greed. I'm sorry, sweetheart, Dad says, pulling me into a hug that smells like his familiar aftershave mixed with stress sweat. I'm sorry we didn't protect you from this. It's not your fault, I say quietly, and for once, I mean it completely. No one could have seen this coming. As we leave the courthouse, I feel a strange sense of closure settling over me like a warm blanket. For 3 years, I've carried the weight of betrayal and the hunger for revenge. Now, finally, that burden has been lifted. But my story isn't over yet. Outside, Detective Rodriguez approaches me one final time. Maya, I wanted you to know that the restitution hearing is scheduled for next month. Based on the streaming revenue and record sales, you're looking at approximately $3.2 million in damages. $3.2 million, enough to fund a music career, buy a house, ensure I never have to worry about money again. Money that represents not just compensation, but acknowledgement that my work had value, that my dreams mattered. So thank you, I say simply, for everything. You're a remarkable young woman, Detective Rodriguez says. What you've been through would have broken most people, but you've handled this with incredible strength and grace. If only she knew the full truth. But some secrets are worth keeping, especially when they've served their purpose so perfectly. As my parents and I walk to our car, I pull out my phone and check my anonymous streaming accounts. River Song has 49 million plays across all platforms. M. Phoenix just signed a multi-album deal with Atlantic Records, and Maya Chen, the naive girl who trusted the wrong people, has been officially declared dead. In her place stands someone stronger, wiser, and infinitely more dangerous to those who would try to steal her dreams. The Phoenix has risen from the ashes, and this time, no one will ever bring her down again. 6 months later, I stand in the wings of Madison Square Garden, watching 20,000 people sing along to words I wrote in my childhood bedroom. The bass line thrums through the floor beneath my feet, vibrating up through my bones as the crowd's energy creates a living, breathing entity that feeds on the music pouring from the speakers. Tonight, for the first time, Maya Chen and M. Phoenix are the same person. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer's voice booms over the sound system. Please welcome the artist behind this year's biggest hits, the voice of a generation, Maya Chen. The roar that greets me as I step onto the stage is unlike anything I experienced in my past life. This isn't the polite applause of a coffee shop open mic night or the encouraging cheers of friends and family. This is pure, raw appreciation from strangers who found something in my music that spoke to their souls. The stage lights blind me momentarily, but as my eyes adjust, I can make out individual faces in the crowd. Young women with tears streaming down their cheeks. Couples holding hands and swaying to melodies I crafted during the darkest nights of my rebirth. Teenagers who've made my lyrics their anthems of survival and hope. Hello, New York, I call into the microphone, and the response is deafening. My fingers find the opening chords of Midnight Confessions, the song that started this whole journey. But this time, it's mine. Officially, legally, and spiritually mine. The copyright belongs to Maya Chen, the royalties flow to my accounts, and every streaming play adds another dollar to my growing fortune. As I sing the first verse, my mind drifts to a federal prison in Pennsylvania, where Chloe is serving the 3rd month of her 18-year sentence. I wonder if she can hear my voice on the radio in her cell, if she knows that the sister she betrayed is now living the life she tried to steal. The irony is exquisite. This next song, I tell the crowd as the applause for Midnight Confessions finally dies down, is about betrayal. It's about people who claim to love you while they're stabbing you in the back. It's called Empty Promises. The opening notes ring out pure and perfect, exactly as I composed them, but without the musical landmine that destroyed Jake's career. The crowd knows every word, and their voices join mine in a harmony that fills every corner of the massive venue. During the bridge, I catch sight of my parents in the VIP section. Mom is crying, happy tears this time, and Dad looks proud enough to burst. They've struggled to understand how their quiet, supposedly naive daughter transformed into a music industry powerhouse, but they've learned not to question miracles. They think my success is justice for the wrongs done to me. They have no idea how calculated every step of my journey has been. The concert continues with songs from my debut album, Reborn. Each track a carefully crafted piece of my story disguised as universal themes of love, loss, and redemption. The audience doesn't know they're applauding my revenge, celebrating the destruction of people who tried to crush my dreams, but I know, and that's enough. Before we finish tonight, I say as the show nears its end, I want to thank some special people. Detective Rodriguez from the NYPD, who helped me find justice. My legal team at Chen and Associates, who fought for my rights, and everyone who believed in my music when others tried to silence it. The crowd cheers, thinking they're witnessing a gracious acceptance speech. They don't realize they're listening to a victory lap. This final song is new, I continue. It's about forgiveness, specifically about the people in situations that don't deserve it. Sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when to walk away and let karma handle the rest. The song that follows is one of my finest compositions, a haunting melody that builds to a triumphant chorus about choosing your own peace over other people's destruction. It's inspired by my sister's final plea for forgiveness during the sentencing hearing and my calm, definitive refusal to grant it. Some betrayals cut too deep for redemption. Some people forfeit their right to your mercy through their own choices. And sometimes, justice tastes sweeter than forgiveness ever could. As the final note fades and the crowd erupts in a standing ovation, I take a bow and let myself feel the complete satisfaction of a plan executed flawlessly. Every person who tried to diminish me has been diminished. Every theft has been repaid with interest. Every lie has been exposed in the harsh light of legal consequences. I am no longer the naive girl who trusted the wrong people. I am the phoenix who rose from the ashes of betrayal, stronger and more dangerous than ever before. Backstage, my assistant hands me a tablet showing the night's social media metrics. #MayaChenMSG is trending worldwide. The concert livestream peaked at 1.2 million concurrent viewers. My Spotify numbers have jumped another 15% just from tonight's performance. Success tastes exactly like I remembered from my dreams, but sweeter for having earned it through my own talent rather than theft. Maya! A familiar voice calls my name, and I turn to see a young woman with a notebook and press badge approaching. I'm Jessica from Rolling Stone. Could I get a quick quote about your journey? How does it feel to reclaim your music after everything you've been through? It feels like coming home, I answer honestly. For a long time, I thought my voice had been stolen from me. But you can't steal someone's soul, only their work. And work can always be created again, better and stronger than before. The interview continues with questions about my songwriting process, my upcoming tour, and my plans for the future. I answer each question with the practiced grace of someone who's learned to control their narrative completely. What I don't mention is the offshore account containing $47 million in streaming revenue from songs I released anonymously, or the real estate portfolio I've built under various shell companies, or the recording studio I'm having constructed in the mountains of Colorado, where I'll create the next phase of my musical empire in complete secrecy. In my past life, I was reactive, naive, and ultimately powerless. In this life, I've learned that true power comes from preparation, patience, and the willingness to do whatever it takes to protect what's yours. As I leave Madison Square Garden, walking through crowds of fans who want selfies and autographs, I feel a strange sense of peace settling over my shoulders like a comfortable blanket. The girl who died in that car crash 3 years ago finally got her justice. The woman I've become can finally start living for herself instead of for revenge. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number, but when I read it, I recognize the sender immediately. Saw your concert on the live stream. You look happy. I'm glad you found your voice. C. Chloe, writing from prison, offering what might be genuine remorse or might be another manipulation. Either way, it doesn't matter anymore. I delete the message without responding and slip my phone back into my purse. Some chapters of your life deserve to end in silence, with the simple satisfaction of knowing you survived what was meant to destroy you. Tonight, surrounded by the echoes of 20,000 voices singing my words back to me, I finally close the book on the girl I used to be. Tomorrow, I'll start writing the next one,